Hey. Welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. I'm so happy to be here, get to speak to the guest of the evening, which is Harry Lowe, coach at New Bedford High School for many years with the girls softball and boys varsity football. He coached me when I was there and was always a real dude, a real kind of players coach. We all kind of didn't mind talking to him and just basically, you know, joking around, just basically just he was just being a good dude to us, and that's what I love about Coach Lowe is that we can gather and sit with him before practice and after practice, and he was just always that real dude to us. And so I thought about talking with him about his career, his at the school, teaching, so on and so forth. I said, well, let me get him on the podcast so there could be a interaction with the coach, back and forth with players, students, whatever, whoever it may be, and I just wanted to make sure that we honor this guy because he was there for us. So once he connects and gets onto the podcast, we'll definitely bring him to the screen. But please, everyone, share this video, this podcast from StreamYard. Share it. That way, Coach gets a wide open, a wide broad of comments and exchanges from various people, and I think that he deserves it. So please share this podcast so we can have some great interactions with the coach. Just bear with me. Just trying to make contact with him. The coaches, he always had some stories, while we were, before practice, just to have us joking around, fooling around, get us upbeat for practice. And then, when there was time to get down to business, he definitely was ready to coach us up and get us going. So, but, nowadays, there's so much things that, goes into coaching. You definitely have to adapt. You have to adapt to the different player now, than when, I was playing or just a few years back, even just 10 years ago, things are different. And this man has definitely adapted and still coaching, still doing a great job and producing quality football players from New Bedford High School. In softball that speaks for itself. The dude is just, his players have went on to, many colleges and so. But without further ado, Coach Harry Lowe.
Hey, Charlie. Sorry about that, man.
No problem, man. I know how it is. It is.
Good thing I have daughters that know what they're doing because it's just all I did. I just didn't click on one thing. That's all, Charlie.
Yeah, I know the feeling. When Mickey was on there, it was difficult, and but we made it happen. Yeah.
So, Coach Ham told me the same thing. He said I had trouble doing it too. So
yep. But we got the stories out there, and that's what I'm trying to do with you. The one thing I admire is that you were there for all of us. You're there for me, many people before me and after me, and I just want to let you know that we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. But Charlie, we all do it because we love the game. You know what I mean? Whether it's football, whether it's softball, and growing up in the West End, I mean, living right next door to the Goodines and growing up with that family. I mean, it's been an honor for me to work with their children, and I've seen their grandchildren now, and it's just it's wonderful. And people ask me, how many more years you got? And I say, you know what? As long as I can get up in the morning and I can, still do the drills with the kids and give them something back, that's what I'm going to do. So.
Exactly. And I hope you stay there as just like you said, as long as the love's there, you stay right there.
Yeah.
And the one thing I admired is that you just kind of rapped with us, just being a real dude, just being, and that was good. I mean, and then
one thing I've always said, Charlie, you got to have fun. And I'm sorry, it's you got to have fun. I know it's a game, and I know everybody likes to try to win, but if you don't have fun out there, it becomes a job, and sometimes it gets boring. And especially football in October, November, it starts getting cold. You lose the interest of the kids. So we have to do something to keep everybody laughing and keeping everybody happy. So
yeah, I definitely I hear you on that. I miss coaching. And my 5 years there alongside with you guys was, it was highlight of my, my career on the job, and being around you guys and definitely getting to see you guys behind the scenes as coaches was even better than, when playing with you guys. You guys had, coaching us up and everything, but being around you guys coaching different teams over the years, that was great for me and a great experience.
Yes, it to me, it's a great experience every year. Every year you get a new kid that is going to come up. You didn't think of him to be one of your players, or in softball, a girl that comes up from the freshman or the JVs. It wasn't in your mind about playing, and all of a sudden you see how much they have grown, and it's a wonderful thing. And then to see them go off to college and then come back and have a great career in college, and then come back and coach with us, it's amazing. I mean, I look at my boy Maki DeBrittle. I mean, look at him. Here's a kid that his sophomore, junior year, he didn't get much playing time, but he got a lot of playing time as a senior, and never complained. His parents never complained, and then he went on and had a great All-American career in college, and now he's the head football coach, working with us, and it's a great honor. When I tell Marky and I go out sometime to eat, before all this started, and people would say, "Geez, why aren't you the head coach and he's your assistant coach?" And I say, you know what? It's his time now. It's his time. So, things like that, Charlie, that's what makes, coaching worthwhile. It really is. And there's a new Bedford kid that, he was coaching Division I football. He could probably still be coaching Division I softball. Football somewhere. And he's back with us because, New Bedford is his home.
Yes.
And the kids are his kids. It's wonderful to see things like this.
And even like, with me, I see little, I can't see little anymore. Sorry. I see Jordan Pina. I see Jordan Pina, and I'm like, wow. I remember coaching a kid when he was, real young. I mean, even his brother Dwayne, after I left you guys at the high school, I got an opportunity to coach him when he was in Pop Warner. So, it's a great story, when you see your players come up and then they're in the coaching ranks and they're very successful, not just on the wins and losses, but successful in being mentors. And that's just as important. You can, so many people getting different titles and they forget about mentoring, the kids and the students that are in front of them. And I'm
Mhm.
like, wait, why are you here? Why are you here? I mean,
Yeah.
that should be the first thing. That should,
Yeah.
but so I also admire watching you, coach softball. You turned out some quality teams.
Yeah.
And even after, something I wasn't aware of until years later, but I didn't realize that you were putting on, hitting clinics and stuff like that, pitching
Yeah.
clinics and all that.
Yeah.
So you continue to stay with your craft, and
Yeah.
that's I gotta commend you for it.
Even now, Charlie, I mean, I'm still working with girls doing, softball now, doing pitching lessons and hitting lessons with them. Even though I'm coaching football, I'm leaving football practice. I'm going down to batting cages for a couple hours because if kids want to learn, I'm there. You know what I mean? That's what we're here for, And you can see the look in their eyes sometimes where, you know, coach, I don't want to disappoint them. Let's put it that way. I don't want to say, look, I can't work with you today because I got football practice. I try to make it work for them. You know what I mean? Even if I got to do a weekend or something like that, because there's so many kids out there that just, a lot of kids now, Charlie, they don't play 3 sports anymore. They're just playing that one sport, and they're
Okay.
trying to get good at it. So, I try to be there available for them, for anyone that's trying to do that, because, if I can help a kid get a scholarship with the price today, Charlie, out in college, that's something that, makes me happy. Let's put it that way. It's just wonderful.
Exactly. I could imagine how many reference letters you have to write.
Yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot. And you know what's funny, Charlie, is a lot of people know me from softball, but they don't know I coach football. And I've coached football in New Bedford High longer than I've coached softball.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that I've coached softball at different schools as well.
Yeah.
Like when my first year coaching softball, I was, I coached at JVs out at Westport.
Mm-hmm.
But then the coach came back from maternity leave, and she wanted, her regular staff with her. So I applied for a job, a baseball job. And this is the funny part, because I applied for a baseball job at Old Colony. And when I got there, Bill Hebert, who was the AD, said, no, we just hired someone, Stan Kupiak, a baseball man from Durfee. So I said, okay. But he says, I got another job open. And I said, really? He says, yeah. He says, I got a softball job open. And I said, softball? Is that girls? He says, yeah. And I'm saying to myself, oh man, I don't know really if I want to coach girls or not. And he says, hey, there's no pressure. We really haven't won many games over 3 years. And he says, I know you coached softball last year at Westport. So I said to him, I said, how much does it pay? He says, it's going to pay the same as baseball. And I said, great. Yep. I said, you know what? If I take the job and baseball opens up, I can switch over. He says, yeah, no problem. And Charlie, here I am. I don't know how many years later that is, like 30, 35, 36 years later, I'm still in softball, So, yeah. It's a great game. I mean, I just love the game. And some of the athletes that I've, had played for me and worked in, and I worked with and have gone on to, Division I colleges, and not only had a great playing career, but also got a great education. And now they're back and, teaching in the area and coaching, and some of them in college. And it's, it's wonderful. I still get letters from a lot of people, and, so some of my former players, and they're telling me what they're doing now. And it's amazing. I'm so proud of them, really. And it's that hard work, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. It and it all, you can have the greatest talent, but that person may not be the hardest worker, and that's where opportunities are missed by a lot of kids.
Yeah.
In the area, that a lot of talent, but they just. Well, I can't say. Let me get off that negative vibe because
Yeah.
I really have. I'm very proud of red and white,
Oh, yes.
uniform and people wearing it. I still have hats that were given to me, hats that were I still wear them on a daily basis, and I'm very very proud of it. Um, and I'm glad that a guy that coached me along with you was Coach Seed.
Oh,
That
yes.
dude,
Yes.
that that guy was. Hey, he made my day. He gave me a hat. I was like happy. I,
Yes. Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
hats up
John.
here that got
Yeah.
hats that are older than my kids.
Yeah. I hear you. I look at my closet sometimes, Charlie. I got hats from way back in the '80s, and I just say, "Wow, what am I doing with them?" But I can't throw away New Bedford gear. I just can't. I can't. And Coach Seed and I, we go back a long way. I mean, I graduated in '71. He graduated in '72, and we've been coaching football and for a long time. And then he's the baseball coach. I'm the softball coach. We see each other all the time. It's wonderful. I mean, it's a good. I mean, the guys I coach with, it's amazing. I mean, we have a great time. I mean, you've been there. You've been in our locker room when we're going at it. The guy I used to love to go at it was Coach Mikey O in football. Oh man,
Hmm.
he and I used to go at it, man. We'd be running the look offense for him, and I'd be calling his defense the Swiss cheese D, and look at all the holes out there. Get down to the second level. There's nothing there. Don't you ever watch these guys on film? They're awful. They're awful. And then Coach O would get mad, and next thing I know, Charlie, he's blitzing everybody. He's blitzing linebackers, safeties. And then we go out and have a beer after and laugh. Oh, man. I used to tell him, hey, look at those guys out there. They remind me of the Nolan Ryan defense. And the guy would say, what do you mean Nolan Ryan defense? I said, yeah, they got 7 no-hitters out there, man. Like, he used to go crazy. He said, oh, my God, the things I used to do with him. But it made practice so much better.
Yeah,
And
sure.
you can ask the kids that played for us in the '90s. Our practices were harder than the games because our tools back then were just outstanding. Individuals. I mean, if they had gone to another school, they probably would have started somewhere. And so we had a lot of fun. Mikey O, I love that guy. I haven't seen him in a while, but I tell you, we had some times, Sally.
Yeah, I seen him. I always see him at the credit union, but every now and then he pops on Facebook and he leave a comment or something. But good dude. And I had some great years working under his dad. His dad was my supervisor for years, and he's just definitely a great mentor because my first couple of years, actually my first year and a half, I didn't think it was for me, and I wanted to leave. And he pulled me in, and he just said, no, you got to stick this out. This is the first year, and whatever you're seeing, whatever you're believing, you know what, you need to talk about it. Come see me. And I never forgot that. And he's still the number one cop in my eyes. May he rest in peace. One of your former players, JoJo Goodiron, says, ask him how he used to weed out the 50-yard running backs.
Charlie, back then we used to have 50 running backs, and you're not going to carry all 50 of them, man. So I had a couple of ways of doing it, but my best way of doing it was we used to set up the gauntlet, and they had to run through the gauntlet. They don't make it through the gauntlet. Get out, go be a receiver, go through something else, and they were so. And we didn't use bags.
Yeah,
we used to use our gear. We used to use our shoulder pads, and we used to whack them. And a couple of kids, they couldn't make it through. So hey, can't be a running back here. You got to go somewhere else. I mean, I had kids that tried to make it through the gauntlet and didn't even make it. And then they say, you know, I got to see the trainer. Okay, go see the trainer. And then, you know, we come in like 20 minutes later to check on the kid. And, oh, he went in the locker room, coach. I go in the locker room, his stuff's on the floor. He's gone already. So there was another running back that wasn't going to make it. So we, you know, you had to do it with you know, 50 running backs. You had to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when they first touched the field, everybody thought they were running back. Until they got on there.
And you know, whose name goes in the paper, Charlie? You know what I mean? Running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, no linemen. So, you know, all these kids, they wanted that. But I mean, back then we had some running backs that were just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. There was a time that the 90s, you know, that was that was the year that, you know, I mean, that was the city gem. You know, that high school was a city gem because no matter what, you were going to see winning results. And great players that were entertaining. I mean, you got a great entertaining game compared to some of the games that were on the TV, you know, and you know, here's a guy, you know, JoJo Goodiron. He got the ball, man. You expected him to score. And then so then you have another option. Then you got Shriek. Then you
had Shriek. Yeah. You had the triple option. We had Rudy as a quarterback, Shriek the fullback, and JoJo the tailback. You know, good luck. Who do you want to try to key on? Because if you did, I mean, you know, the other kid would just, you know, take the ball to the house too. So I mean, we had 3 kids there that could take the ball to the house, and Rudy could throw the ball like 70 yards. So I mean, there wasn't too many defensive backs that could play, you know, cover their man for 50 yards. Let's put it that way. And we had a lot of speed on the outside, and you know, Charlie, those were the days where no matter what play you called, you knew it was going to work.
How did you deal with Fufu?
Jeffrey Correa, that's my boy, man. I'll tell you, he made me laugh, but I'll tell you, that kid was a great athlete. You know, we used to try to find ways to get him the ball, whether it was throwing it to him or running reverses with him, or you know, running, you know, even let him run some option for us as well. I mean, he was an athlete. And here's another one that used to come over to the field and be a water boy and dream of the day that he was going to wear the red and white. And when it was his day to wear the red and white, he owned it. I mean, you know, he was unbelievable in what he would do on the field. Unbelievable. I mean, there was one game down at Silver Lake. I think he scored 6, but they called back 2 of them, I think it was. And it was just, I think it was on a punt return. It was a kickoff return, caught a couple of passes. I mean, he was legit, Charlie. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast with him, you know, and they were talking about, you know, the different, you know, some of the plays that he had, you know, done, actually where he went after the high school, you know, traveling up to California, you know, and it was Derek Baptiste was telling us a story about, you know, one of the kids that was playing for the Giants, you know, and he is a professional ball player saying, you know, that Fufu should be it. And, you know, I always loved the kid. He's just great. I mean, those years in the 90s were just unbelievable, kind of coach's dream. You know, you could, I mean,
and you know, for me, Charlie, I mean, I not only was I, you know, winning games here in New Bedford with football, but about at Apponequet, we had 2 state titles in '99 and '92 and '99, and I mean for '90s for me, I didn't want them to end. You kidding me? I was hoping Groundhog Day was around and just keep coming up, So, I mean, it was. I mean, '90. I go to '92. We win a state title, and I had a team that year that should have won a state title. I mean, we went 24-2. I think we started 4-2 in the first 6 games, and then my seniors just got together and said, "We're not going to lose another one," and we didn't. And we could have. I mean, the team I had, we could have played the Division I state champs, and we probably would have won that too. And then I go to football. '93, we win the Super Bowl there, and then '94 we win another Super Bowl there, And in between, we went to a couple other Super Bowls, and then '99 comes along, and I have a team that was picked to, I think it was finished 4th in the SEC and SEC rather, and they come out of nowhere. We started 4-2 again, and then I had a girl named Michelle Santos who was pitching for me, and she used to tell the kids before the game, "Get me one run, get me one run." Now, how can you not want to play behind a girl that tells you just get me one run? You know what I mean? And then that state tournament run there, we played 6 games and we didn't give up a run in 6 games. I mean, we played some. I mean, in the state semifinals, we played Concord Carlisle. They were 24-0. We beat them 2-0. And then we go to the state title game. We played Northbridge, who was 25-0, and we beat them 2-0. So, I mean, the kids, that team there, that was a perfect example of believing in the system and believing in each other. If someone made a mistake, everybody would say, "I got your back, got your back." It's not, it wasn't a bad thing, Charlie. So, I mean, the '90s for me, I'd go back and live those '90s all over again. Believe me, those were some great years with some great ball players, but also great families that they came from. I mean, we were always together. Spaghetti dinners here, I think I put on 30 pounds in the '90s. I think it was crazy. I was eating all over the place. So
actually, you had probably the biggest team that I remember seeing was back in the '90s. I mean, the linemen were of size, and I mean it was good. But actually, let me skip that. Because my brother mentioned this, and he says, "How about Richie Ribeiro and Puffy? They were linemen that made a difference."
Hey, listen, man, they were on that. My Coach Joe Worth asked me one time to coach his 7th grade, a junior high team, and I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, tell me what you want out of that team, Joe." And he said, "Well, first of all, I want them to learn our system. And second of all, I want them to learn how to win." And I said, "Fine." And Puffy and Richie were on that first junior high team that I had. And I tell you, those 2 kids were great kids. They love football. I mean, I felt badly for some of the junior high teams that we played. We went to Rhode Island, played a couple there. We went down to Cape, played a couple there. And Richie and Puffy just the other teams didn't have anyone to stop them. And Puffy as a defensive lineman was just unstoppable. Richie was just a force to be reckoned with, whether it was on the offensive line or the defensive line. And again, those are 2 kids that you just love. You just, I mean, coming from Roosevelt, you figure that they're going to be tough kids and everything, but they weren't. I love them to this day. Yeah. I see them now and then. I still give them hugs. I still give them fives, man. They're family. Like all the other kids that I've had, they're family. But yeah, they were on. They were beasts on the line. They really were. I love those kids.
Yeah, we had. I know them since they were younger.
Yeah.
And Coach, do you have a cell phone on or anything like that?
No, I don't.
All right, just getting this echo out of you. But all right. I mean, you always hear the stories about the good irons, and that family. That it's so true. They all grew up together.
Yep.
But I want to tell you a story. All those players that you had on that team, they were on the YA football team all together.
Verdian
And
Vets.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, this was the Young Cape Verdeans
Oh, the young
football
Cape.
team
Okay.
with,
Yep.
with Tony Estes, Rudy
Yep.
Bolger,
Yep.
John Gonzalez. I just got out of high school. I was over there helping them out. Joe Lopes. And the funniest thing is that Ruru's dad would pile
Yes.
all of them in this station wagon,
Oh, yes. Yes.
and Ryan Bland's mom, they all bringing these kids down to the Gome School to start practice. And it was crazy because I said, wow, look at them. And then they were all ready for practice, get in. The only thing about that team is that every time they played, they were undefeated up until they went to Dartmouth, and they lose to Dartmouth at the end of the season. Just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But, that was fate because later on they got their trophies,
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, going back to that junior high team, Charlie, that I had, I mean, JoJo, Sharik, Rudy, they all played on that junior high team as well. And when they got into New Bedford High, they all started as a freshman. They started as a freshman because they knew the system. And that last year that we had that junior high team, that was the team that won back-to-back Super Bowls. So Joe Worth, my man, God bless his soul, he knew what he was trying to do, and because some of the teams that we play against, like a Bridgewater Raynham team, that's what they have. Their youth leagues play, run the same system as the high school team. So those kids, know the system.
and that's what they
Makes it a lot easier when they come out to practice.
Yeah, I remember when some conversations and they would talk about that, how New Bedford was successful when they had all the middle schools,
Yes. Yep.
and they were and that was all sports, when those middle schools were set up to play competitive, and when people kind of paid attention to them, give them all they needed so they can play these competitive games. The end result is when they got to high school. I mean, it showed in those 90s. You guys won and won and won, and you also won in the classroom. I want to mention that those kids were in the books. They were doing their thing, and so let me see. Just looking for some comments that I missed. Here's one I missed, Coach, from Rodney Victor. He said, did he ever play baseball for John Pacheco?
Yes, I did. John Pacheco was a great man, and he's one of the reasons why I coach. I played baseball for John in 1970 and 71. I played shortstop for them. Great man.
I remember the story. I'll never forget this because you used to tell me it, and then when I started coaching at the high school, you still was telling that conversation. And can you tell us about the time you scored some touchdowns for the Verdian Vets?
Charlie, I love playing for the Verdian Vets. So let's put it that way. The game. I had never played football before, and I knew it was a brand new team, and they were having tryouts. I remember asking my father about playing football, and he said, no, you hurt yourself. You'll never be able to play baseball. But then he let me play, and I remember our first year, we went 0-9. I think we scored 10 touchdowns. I had 9 of them or whatever. And second year, kind of went off a little bit. I scored a lot of touchdowns. I mean, I scored 6 or 7 in some games, and just had, I mean, we had a great team too. But the coaches we had, like Turtle Rosario, JoJo Rose, rather, Bucky Vincent. I mean, these are guys. I remember Bucky Vincent one time. We played for Haven Boys Club. This was my first year playing for them. Played for Haven Boys Club at Pope Park at like 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And we got beat. I don't know what it was, maybe 30 to 18 or whatever. But I had scored the 3 touchdowns, and we were getting ready to go home. And I was in Mr. Vincent's car, and he looked at me. He says, "God, did you eat breakfast today or anything, son?" And I said, "No, not really, Coach. I had to, hurry up to come." He pulled over to the store and bought me some peanut butter crackers and a soda. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'll never forget that. I mean, these are just great men that I played for, and again, that's why I'm coaching.
Yeah, he's definitely a good mentor, and I actually I wish I can get a group of guys on this podcast so we can share a bunch of Bucky Vincent stories. So,
that would be wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to work on that.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
A funny story about the Verdian vets, though. I mean, growing up, I was pretty bow-legged. I mean, I still am, but not as bad as I was before. One time I was running down the sideline, and the guy called me out of bounds. My father was standing right there, and he says to the guy, he says, "Hey, he wasn't out of bounds. His foot was right here." The guy says, "Yeah, his foot was in, but his knee was out. He's out of bounds." He put the ball right there. My knee was out of bounds. That was crazy. I had some good times. I played for the Verdian Vets, and I played for Connie Lodge in Little League Baseball. Quentin DeGrasse, Joe Diaz. I mean, again, Charlie, great people, just great people, And I lived, like I said, I lived in the West End. I lived near the Goodines, and there wasn't a day or a time of day that we weren't playing something. Whether it was 2-hand tag football, whether it was wiffle ball baseball or fast pitch baseball over at Cook School, which is now Holy Family. I mean, we would be there for hours and hours, and then go do our paper route and come back and either play again or get on our bikes and go play a Little League baseball game at Mount Pleasant Field. That's where I played. I played up there in Graydon, New Bedford. So again, Charlie, I mean, just great mentors in my life. Great people, great human beings, not just great mentors, great human beings that there was no color of skin back then, Charlie. I'm sorry. It just wasn't.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It wasn't. We were all there together, and we loved each other. And, I mean, that's why I learned how to eat cachupa, bro. I can't get without cachupa. I got a neighbor, my boy Isaac, next door to me. He knows that he makes it. He calls me right away. He knows I like it. I don't know how to make it, Charlie, but I know how to eat it. Times, everything.
That's
and his mother makes some great cachupa, and I love it. Getting us back to a story about Mikey O is during football season, JoJo Goodine, the father, would come across the field on a Thursday with a bowl of cachupa for me. And Mikey O used to go like, "Where's mine? Where's mine?" And Joe Goodine would say, "Family, he's family."
Exactly.
He used to give me cachupa all the time. That'd get Mikey O all mad.
That's good. Let me see. Rodney Victor says, "Did you play with Julian Pina?"
Juju, my boy. You kidding? That's a kid that I would play fast pitch baseball with Julian Pina, which I call Juju, and Mickey Gonzalez's brother, Nuno Gonzalez.
Yep.
Another one, God rest his soul there. But we would play. We were at it was called Cook School at the time, but we were in that yard for hours. somebody would hit a home run, and be going rolling down near the sewer. Everybody would sprint. We'd learn how to jump a fence without touching the fence, Charlie, trying to catch that white sponge ball before it went down the sewer. And he'd go down the sewer, and everybody put their hands in their pocket. And, well, you got 25. All right, all we need is 25 cents. We go down to Goggins Variety, get another, white sponge ball, and come back, all pinky. It depends on what he had. And played baseball, like I said, until it was time to go to do our paper route, and then, back to the Little League baseball game. That's why when I see guys now that on Major League Baseball, they can't throw more than 100 pitches an inning, I laugh. We used to throw 100 innings a week back then.
Exactly.
Julian, yes, he was great. He played second base in high school, and I played shortstop. And he was just a great friend. Great friend.
I got to get in touch with Tommy Goodiron because I want to get him on here. And
Bombi, my boy Bombi.
Yeah, so we can talk about some of the stories that I've heard over the years about him.
Yeah.
And so one thing I liked watching was during a varsity game, you guys on the sideline, you're down there, Coach Seed, and the back and forth, if people could hear what was in those headsets,
I don't know. That would be a good one. If they could put that on HBO, I think that would be good.
Oh, yeah.
But it couldn't be be a lot of beeps on, regular TV.
Yeah, it definitely would be better than the NFL Hard Knocks, whatever it is.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, but that's what I like about football. Though. See, I love coaching softball. Don't get me wrong, but football is just a different type of game where you're making your moves even during games. You know what I mean? You study your film, you get your game plan, but they also going to do something different as well. And then you come together at halftime, you make your adjustments. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think there's a better staff making adjustments wise than we had back in the 90s. I'm telling you, this staff here that I'm working with right now, we're just as good because, again, we still have Coach Ham. We still have Coach Seed. We just got Rudy Bogo to come over from Fayetteville. The boy is back home. My man is back home where he belongs, and now he's with us. And on defense, you got Mark Hayes. And let me tell you something about Mark Hayes. I don't think there's a better defensive coordinator around. And I sit around and I just do offense. I've done that for the past, 20 years as coach offense. I haven't coached defense in a long time, but I listen to what he does in practice with the kids and when they're going through their walkthroughs before the games and everything. I don't know how you cannot be prepared after listening to him,
Oh, yeah.
And, we got Bonesy back, Jamie Sylvia with the defensive backs, and, Coach Ham has the linebackers. The adjustments we make at halftime, I just don't see other coaches making them. A perfect example is last year we're playing Bridgewater Raynham. They're beating us 28-7. In the third quarter, it's 28-7, and Coach Seed and I are on the headsets. And I said to him, I said, John, I said, look, we're not doing anything through the air today. Even though we had the kids, Shaheed Barrels, they were double teaming him, and it was tough. And we were I saw we were getting frustrated a little bit. So I said, let's just go back to running the ball. Let's see what we can do. And we went back to running the ball, Charlie. And then, we scored a couple of touchdowns, and the defense got fired up. We had Uncle Mo come on our sideline. The momentum came over to our sideline. And you could just see it. You could see it in their eyes on the sideline. And next thing you know, we win 35-28. And they didn't know what hit them. And Bridgewater Raynham, they have a great coaching staff, but they didn't make any adjustments. They didn't make any adjustments after we ran the ball.
Yeah, they thought that lead was unreachable, but
oh yes, especially against us because they've blown us out many times. They have a great program there, but again, we made our adjustments, and I said that I'll put our adjustments up and our coaching staff up against any staff in the state.
So true. I just want to commend you for all these years of being dedicated to the city of New Bedford, and also those other towns that you coached at, because you were tailor-made to be where you were, and you were put in a place to help out a lot of people, including me. Some of the things that you guys done for me, I was able to use later on, throughout my career, and then later just encourage kids, go play football,
Yep.
play football, and I was always doing that. Even if a kid was in the school getting into trouble, I thought football was the best thing for them.
Yes.
I try to encourage them to do it, and it's always worked for me. And then when I got that opportunity to go over there and coach with you guys, thanks to you, Coach Ham, and and I met a good dude, a guy that's going to be a lifelong friend of mine, and that's Steve Estevez.
Steve, yes. I mean, again, good coach, right? Good friend. Him and Freddie Pimento, they're still doing the freshman program. So I mean, I made a lot of friends, Charlie, and I of course you make some enemies when you win all the time. Nobody likes you, So it's all right. They don't know me, so it's good. Like Coach Ham said one day, if you don't know Harry, you don't know Harry. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Again, we try. You want to win, but you also, you want to get the kids ready for the next level, whatever it is, whatever it's going to be in life. And that's why we try to tell them, and Maki is so good on chasing these kids down for grades and everything. We try to tell them you're not going to play football your whole life. So, you got to prepare. You've got to prepare. And that's why I love coaching, Charlie. I really do, because you see a lot of kids that, they were troublemakers in school, but you see them later on in life, and they just come over and they thank you, and it's a good feeling, Charlie. It really is.
Yeah. That's one thing that I always say about football and the game is you never. Well, I never had a bad friend when it came to the football team. They were all good.
Yeah.
To this day, I still talk to Jeff Tripp. You remember Tripper? I still talk to him.
Yeah, Tripp. Yeah.
Jack McGee.
Big Jack, my man. I still see him. I see him. Yep.
Yep. And even before New Bedford, when I was down in Florida, I still keep in touch with a lot of my teammates down there, and
yep.
So the game has been good to me, and definitely made me a better person.
Yeah. Know what I tell the kids, Charlie? Listen, this is your escape. Out of all the things that's happening outside of this field house and outside of this field, for 2.5 hours, you can forget all that. You can leave it all behind, and you can start changing your life. Be the first one in your family to graduate, or be the first one in your family to play college ball. And it's your escape, and it certainly is, because some of these kids, Charlie, the job that you had that you retired from, you saw it. Some of these kids, had to come from a tough life, and this is their escape.
Yeah, I'm glad that we continue to support the high school athletics, and even the athletics, and Pop Warner and so on and so forth. Got to continue. It's very, very important. And I try to tell people to, if you got a few bucks, donate it to one of the Pop Warner teams in the area. And,
right.
It goes a long, long way.
Yep.
So, but Coach, out of all Let me see. I got to ask you this question. Yeah. Out of all the players that you
Wow.
coached, and it's many, 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 um, is there one that just, I mean, I hate to put you on a hot seat, but is it one that slowly sticks out that, every time, I can't even ask that question, but there's many,
Ah,
many, many. It's just too many for you, and I know that. So I, some of your players, I mean, we mentioned Maki, we talked about Fufu, you got
mhm.
JoJo listening. There's so many of the players that are doing some tremendous things. Um, and I'm looking to get some of those old
Oh,
players of yours on this podcast.
yes, please
Uh,
do.
and
Please
and
do.
if you can, if I ask this every podcast, is I need, if you wanted someone on this podcast, who would you recommend? It doesn't have to be a player; it can be anybody. But I want to
Mhm.
reach out to that person and try to get them on this podcast.
Um, I'd like to see Rudy on here, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
I mean, Rudy, he did his thing over in Fairhaven. Now he's home, and what's he got? 6 rings? Does he have six rings or whatever? I mean,
Mhm.
I think he is one of the all-time greatest athletes to come out of New Bedford High and in the city of New Bedford, and I like to see him on
Yeah, and he can talk, so that would be a
here.
great, great podcast.
Hey, the first day of practice, Charlie, he came over. He already had his clipboard, and he's showing me all these plays that he. Oh, I didn't sleep last night, Coach. I wrote this down. I looked at him. I said, "Whoa, guy!" He already had like 6 plays already listed that we could run, and this was like last week before we were even going to open up against Dartmouth Friday night. He was well ahead of me. He was already well ahead of
Good, good kid. I mean,
me.
I
Yes,
loved
he
him when he
is.
was loved him when he was 11 years old. Never mind now.
Yep.
He's a
Yep.
tremendous man and doing
Well,
good things.
one thing you got to know is that kids like Rudy and JoJo, I held them as babies, and then I coached them because I grew
Wow.
up with the Goodine family. You know what I mean? So I knew them from when they were in diapers. So
Yeah.
that's that's going back for me.
Well, I'm definitely gonna get him on this podcast, and I'll work on that in the next couple of days.
All right,
Um, Coach, love you to death.
all
You
right.
need me, you call me.
Oh yes,
Um, and hopefully I can get to catch you down at Dougie's place one time. Hopefully they open soon, and I'll catch you guys down there.
all right. No problem,
All
Charlie.
right.
Thank you very much. It was an honor for me to be here with you. You do a great job with this program. I've watched it, Charlie, and you've done a great job in bringing out the
Thank
people. Not only coaches, educators, you brought in a bunch of other people. The walk of life, Charlie, and you're doing it, and you're doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And tell all the coaches I said hello, and win, 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 brother.
All right. Thank you very much, Charlie.
Thank you, Coach. Hey, man, definitely a great dude, a quality dude. Can't talk in any. I got a million words to describe that man and what he's done for me. And you know what? New Bedford High School is a very, very lucky school to have a guy like that in their ranks. Um, so tomorrow we will be on again, and the 2 men that are coming on is 2 other mentors from the city of New Bedford, and that's Sean Hargraves and Joe Nebbs from Dennison Memorial Community Center down in the south end of New Bedford. So please tune in tomorrow. We have 2 fabulous guests, and when you join the podcast, just share share the podcast so we can open it up to a wider audience and get that interaction going back and forth. Thank you for the comments today. I'm pretty sure that Coach was very, very happy to see them. And, let's try it again tomorrow. In conclusion, mask those beautiful faces. Wash your hands, hand sanitize your hands, and stay safe. Love you guys. God bless. And please, please, you need me, send me an email, a message. Really Charlie podcast at gmail.com. You can send me an email and, we'll get it done. Hey, Jojo, I love you, bro. You keep up the good work, man. And one of the best kids I ever was around, at New Bedford High School and at the YA club football team. Take care, man.